Hi you guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new little monthly budget video. I'm so happy that you guys are here. If you guys are new here, hi, my name's Carter. I'm 26. I talk all about getting through life in your 20s unfiltered, whether that's personal finance, day-to-day, everyday, homebody life, being an introvert, doing things on a budget, fixing up our home, all that jazz, just life in my 20s quite literally. And I would love it if you joined our little corner of the internet. We're a very chatty time around here, which I know is not everyone's cup of tea, but especially with these money videos, I like to keep them very casual, chill, and chatty because I think that makes personal finance a little less intimidating and overwhelming. Just pretend we're two friends catching up in a coffee shop, going over our budget together and just chatting about finances and how we feel. Maybe you can have this on in the background while you're doing your monthly budget. And I'm really excited to spend some time together. I should just start this off with like a little chat about May, what's to come for June, just kind of catch up a little bit finance-wise. So I wrote down some notes on my iPad. Talk kind of like about May, how I'm feeling about money. May was a bit of a different month. It was a lot higher of an income month that I was expecting because it was a 3-paycheck month, which is always great because that means we get an extra mortgage payment. And I also got my retro pay / back pay. So in the hospital, at least in like where I live, I don't know if it's across Canada, I don't know if it's just Ontario, let me know in the States, but we don't get bonuses. Like that's not a thing, which I think is just kind of a little ironic. Like the healthcare workers that are like frontline don't get bonuses, but we're just not gonna get into that. I think I got one $200 bonus during the pandemic when I was working like with patients on a COVID floor. Anyways, but we do get retro pay and back pay, and that is basically when if you're unionized, your union starts fighting for you to get a raise and then you get it back paid. Or for me, I'm non-unionized, so they had an external agency come in and assess all of our job positions and kind of compare them with what's outside of the hospital for similar positions in pay. This started March 1st, 2023, I want to say. So basically, I got a $5 raise for my position and it was backdated to March 1st, 2023, which means I got 14 months, like however many hours I worked in those 14 months times like the $5 an hour, I got that paid out to me. So I got back pay this month, which I wasn't expecting to get it so soon. They said between May and July. So I was really happy about that because we were able to put it towards some big home projects, which you guys will see here soon. I try and follow like a Ramit Sethi style of bonuses, extra miscellaneous income that comes in, where I put about 80% of it aside for savings, sinking funds, investments, or I guess debt if you had any. And then I save 20% for myself. To spend on myself, because I do think it's important to, you know, treat yourself while you're also saving and investing. For me, I find it really helpful when I know that I'm getting an extra sum of money before it hits my account. I always allocate it all out. That way when it hits my account, I'm not like, ooh, I have all this money for myself. Like everything has already been given a job. So I can put on the screen here what that looked like for my retro pay, and then you guys will also see that in my budget. But I gave everything $1 before it even hit my account. That way when the money came, I knew exactly what to do with it and I didn't have to think twice about it. So that kind of brings me to like what's coming in June. We're really excited because we were able to move up a pretty big home project because of my retro pay. Matt and I split all of our home projects down the middle. My fiance and I, we don't have combined finances. We probably never will. I'm a big believer, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's just what works for us. I always get asked kind of what our strategy is for having a fixer-upper in terms of home projects, and what we've decided we're gonna do is we're gonna pick one big home project a year, and then the rest will be kind of smaller scale projects, staining the deck, our kitchen makeover on a budget, etc. Big projects are things that kind of feel more structural to us, so we have to like knock down our shed, rebuild our sunroom. That's a big project. Luckily, we bought this house knowing there wasn't a lot of issues with the integrity and structure of the home. Our foundation's good, our roof is good, our windows are good. This year's big project we have decided is our gutters. And you're gonna say, Carter, your house doesn't have gutters or eaves troughs. No, the previous owners actually took them off because they were, quote, ugly, unquote. Our neighbors told us that they were there for it all. And yeah, it's unfortunate that we have to pay for the consequence of someone deciding gutters are ugly, so they're gonna take them off even though they're necessary to a home. But it is what it is. We signed up for it buying this house. That's why we got this house at such a good price. We wanted to get that done before winter, of course, with all the snow melting. And I just think gutters are very important. We're also getting ice picks installed since we do obviously have a lot of snow. We have a pretty sloped roof. I already have a company and a quote and everything. It's ready to go. We're like, we'll let you guys know when we're kind of ready to do it and we can plan it. And we are doing that in June. So yeah, not very exciting, but most of my like quote unquote bonus back pay went towards getting gutters. But that's kind of how we decided to go about it, was doing like one big project yearly. That way we weren't super overwhelmed. I talked about this in last month's budget with me, but my main savings priority right now is to increase my emergency fund. It's at about $6,000 right now. I thought $5,000 I would feel good with. I had $5,000 in the condo, but I feel like a condo versus a house like this, it's a fixer-upper, is a little different because a lot more responsibility falls on us. So I think I'd like to get that to at least 10 in order for me to feel comfortable. So now that we have the money put aside for the eaves troughs and gutters, that is kind of my current savings goal, along with keeping up with my investing minimums. So let's pull up the May budget and just kind of go over that, and then we can kind of talk about how we're feeling about the budget specifically after. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm way too lazy to do the whole screen sharing thing. It's not like not a ton of effort, but you have to make sure that the video recording like matches up with the screen recording, and like we're on a bit of a time crunch because I'm on my lunch break from work. So I'm just gonna be lazy and plop up the little screenshots on the screen. Okay, let's go over the monthly summary super quick. I love these. They're just like great at a glance, so you don't have to like go through all of your different kind of tables in your budget. I'm a big fan as a visual person, and this just tells me kind of like at a glance what my monthly balance is in my account. I will say that this is usually off by maybe $50 to $100, and that's just because some transactions I pay for out of my checkings account. Like I try to track as much as I can, but there are definitely things that like I don't track. I take out cash, stuff like that. So this is usually off by just kind of a little bit. But I believe right now it's at like $952. So yeah, I think it's just because I had taken out like $100 of cash, which I don't put into my budget or anything. We're lined up there, which is good. It's more of an issue when there's like a big discrepancy that I have to kind of go through and figure out where it is. But $50 to $100 is pretty average for me. Income, like I mentioned, was a bit higher than usual this month with the 3 paychecks and then also my back pay. As you guys know, I work a part-time job, so my income is variable. I always budget off of the least amount possible. And as you can see, sometimes even I mess it up. Like this pay, I kind of totally forgot we were going on vacation, so that's only about a week of work. See the difference between my budgeted versus actual for my first 2 paychecks? It's a pretty significant amount that kind of makes up for that difference in the last one here. Totally fine with that. And then I had allocated to pay myself $1,000 distribution from the business, and I didn't need to do that this month, which is always great. I'll never be mad about not paying myself from the business because it keeps my personal tax bracket down. And so my total take home this month was $8,379. Of course, this is not average at all. Expenses. Groceries. Let's chat about groceries because I kind of came to this realization with Matt. He was like, that makes so much sense. I am constantly beating myself up about groceries. If you guys have been watching me since like the pandemic, I was like a frivolous grocery shopper. I love little snackies, little healthy, like the natural food aisle. Like I love all that stuff. And so when I would go over budget back then, it would be because I was buying not frivolous things, but like silly little, you know, goofy additions that add up here and there. It's not so much that I'm buying all these like additional snacks. It's just that groceries are expensive. But when I see my grocery budget over, I automatically assume it's something that I did. And like time to time it is like, oh, maybe I didn't need, you know, the Poppy or the, you know, Cove sodas. But I have to realize that now sometimes I'm just over budget because shit's just expensive. I think I'm actually going to just raise our grocery budget. I think I just have to. I've said this before, but my fiance and I split groceries and we just take turns. We go back, or we don't split, like we kind of just take turns. Some months ends up that he buys more, some months I buy more, but like groceries are just expensive right now. We shop at like discount grocery stores. We buy our meat in bulk. We're doing as much as we can. And sometimes like shit's just gonna be expensive. It's like gas, like you gotta get it no matter what, even if it's expensive. Eating out, I kind of knew it was gonna be a little bit over. If you guys watched the home vlog when we got back, we just had like a weekend full of plans. It is what it is. Like I said, every month, you know, your budget's gonna fluctuate. We will never say no to like social plans with friends and family because we don't go out to eat often. It's not something that we feel like we spend a lot of money in. And so yeah, we ate out like 2 or 3 times that weekend, but we were like creating memories with family and friends and all that stuff. So I'll never say no to that. Matt and I are pretty good that we only like eat out once a week. So I'm a little bit over there, but as you can see, I only spent $7.68 on coffee this month. I just really don't buy coffee out much anymore. You know, we started buying kind of like the fancier things like the cold foam from the grocery store that like, yeah, it may cost $5 or $6, but we make our cold brew at home, and like cold brew at Starbucks with cold foam is like $6. So you've already kind of broke even on just buying the can and using it once. But I definitely feel like since we moved from the city or the suburbs, we spend a lot less on coffee. We do have a coffee shop in town. We just don't go a lot. We really just love our Breville. But this is just because like one week I went to get coffee with my mom, the next week my mom paid, and then Matt and I got coffee this past weekend and he paid. So like I got coffee every weekend, but I only paid for it once. Miscellaneous shopping, I did go a little bit over. I ended up buying some stuff from Hollister, which that came to like about $90. I'm not like crazy upset about this, but do I feel like I needed everything? Probably not. I will say I'm really proud of myself though, because before a trip I tend to do like a lot, you know, I think we all do. We like buy the random stuff from Amazon and then we go buy some clothes that we don't really need. And I did really good this trip. I did buy a pair of boxer shorts and I ended up not bringing them on the trip and just returning them after because I didn't need them. So I'm not upset about this number. It feels like a good number. Once again, I'd like to do a bit of a lower personal spend next month and like really take it seriously and set myself up for success. Health and wellness, I didn't spend anything. I did get my nails done this month. That's fine. Pet, I did buy the dog's food, but that came out of a sinking fund, which I get asked about that. I don't really track the sinking funds on my budget. It just comes down to personal preference. You definitely can. I used to when I was starting out, but now I just kind of off the top of my head like know what the sinking funds are and where they're at. Car and gas. I must have, what did I buy? I did have to go into the office a few times and I do pay for parking since I do mainly work from home. So that adds up quick. It's like $14 to park at the hospital. So yeah, a bit of a higher spend with the car. However, I feel like once again, it just kind of like balances out. Some months, like next month, I might only spend $40 on gas. House and home, $90. This was like just a bunch of soil and flowers and gardening stuff. And yeah, like I'm overall not upset about really any of this. I'm quite happy with this number. All right, subscription and bills. Mortgage was the same. I split my mortgage with my fiance and we recently increased our payments just because our mortgage was $800 each a month. And then we just decided to increase it because we have such a low interest rate that more is going on the principal. Or yeah. Small bills were a little bit lower this month, and that's just because we had moved the internet and the phone bills over to the business finally. So that took kind of a little bit of a bill off of like our personal plate. So small bills were a bit lower than I had anticipated, which is always great. Car payment is usual, and then car insurance is higher than usual because I ended up changing policies. I don't know if this is common everywhere. I was kind of shocked. Matt said this didn't happen to him. I don't know if it's just the company I was with, but I'm with a broker and I had to do like 2 months up front when I started a new policy, I guess like first and last month, which I think is pretty common. I don't know. I just don't remember. I had been with my previous car insurance for like 5 years, so I just don't remember doing that, but I think it's pretty common. So anyways, that's a bit higher than usual, which, you know, I guess it is what it is. Gym is $100. Matt and I are on a family plan and I just pay that. And my subscription's pretty average. So a little bit higher of a bill month just because of that car insurance, but nothing else was crazy different. Okay, savings. So I did get to put $1,000 aside into my emergency fund, which was really great from that back pay. And then I also put $600 aside for property taxes that comes out next month. Sinking funds, I put my usual $50 aside for the dogs, $1,500 into our home sinking fund for the eaves troughs and gutters. I use my home sinking fund for things that are mainly a few months out, and then short-term savings for anything that's like the month ahead. So because we're doing our gutters this month, I'll transfer the money from the sinking fund to the short-term savings. I put $100 aside just with like birthdays, Father's Day, fun money. That $250 was from my retro pay, and I put that aside so I could kind of just maybe buy myself something if I wanted it, but I didn't really find anything off the top of my head that I wanted with this back pay. I'd rather take the time to think about it. And then investments, I did $250 in my TFSA and $250 in my RSP, and that leaves me with, yeah, around $1,000. So I guess we can kind of set up my budget for June together. All in all, I'm pretty happy with how May went. Like I said, I do want to do a little bit of a lower spend month. I don't really have necessarily any rules for it. I think for me, a low spend month makes sense just because we have so many expenses with the house and stuff. Rather commit to spending more consciously rather than like giving myself like hard limits. I think everyone does like a low spend challenge differently. You could either do like a certain amount. Like I follow a girl named Macy on TikTok and she did like $50 for non-essential spending a week. I, on the other hand, just kind of want to focus on a few areas to see my spending come down. And I think that's like a very sustainable way to do it. So I would really like to just see my personal spending come down. I'd love to say that I'd like to see the grocery amount go down. I think it could a little bit if we're really planning it out. We have a lot in the freezer, and that's kind of also why I want to do a little bit of a low spend month. Every 6 months, I try to go through the freezer and just do a complete clear out, just because we buy so much on clearance that like we'll buy like meat that's about to go bad. We put it in the freezer, right? Because then it's fine. So I really want to try my best to just use up a lot of stuff that we have in the freezer or like non-perishables like pasta. I think especially with summer, it's a bit easier to do a low spend. But yeah, personal spending for me includes things like books, hobbies, home sense runs, even thrifting, just being a bit more conscious about what I'm bringing into our home, clothing, just the shopping side. I don't think that I have a bad relationship with shopping. I just think it's like a fun challenge from time to time. And also with it being summer, I just feel like there's so much you can do that's like free outside, like going to the beach, that I really just don't need to spend money to have fun. I was kind of going back and forth if I wanted to set like a set amount that I was allowed to spend on between groceries and everything, or if I just wanted to be really conscious of it. And I haven't really decided. I was originally saying like, okay, I'm gonna put $800 aside to cover like all of my expenses for June into like a sinking fund attached to my credit card. But I think I'm just gonna try and be really conscious and see where that takes me. And if I notice like halfway through the month it's not working, maybe I'll just kind of put some money aside and like kind of use that for like my variable spending. So I guess we'll see. And feel free to join if you want, if you feel like there's one or two categories where you want to cut down on. I feel like that can be a little bit more sustainable to some people and a little less intimidating than doing like a full no spend challenge. So let's say like eating out is your weakness. Like maybe for the month of June, you say you're not going to eat out at all, or you're just going to eat out once a week, instead of being like, I'm not spending in any category, which I just want to say, I think no spend challenges can work for some people. I know that Zoe has done them from time to time, Zoe Pritchard here on YouTube. I just feel like for me, it's a bit more sustainable for me to just be conscious of the areas of my life that I tend to overspend and really like reel it in there. So that's kind of my plan for June. And I'm going to film like what I spend in a week, reels and TikToks, and I'll post them here on shorts too to kind of hold myself accountable. Excited. The summer tends to be a time when less people are of course on YouTube because it's nice out. So I really want to film a lot of like personal finance content over on like reels and TikToks and on shorts as well. So let's set up my budget for June. Once again, I'm just going to be like totally lazy and I'm just going to put the little screenshots up when I'm done them. So whenever I'm calculating my income, since I do a variable income, I of course pull up my calendar and I kind of see what we have going on. For example, I know that next week I'm on course all week. I'm taking like a 1-week summer intensive health law certificate. And so I'll be working Monday to Friday. So I know that my pay on the 14th will be a little bit higher because I'll have kind of like that almost 2 weeks of full work. So I kind of feel like 1,400 is that sweet spot for me. So I'm going to put 1,400 here, and then I'll put 1,400 for the second pay as well. And as you guys know, I try and live off of my corporate income as much as possible and then supplement with business income if needed for a few reasons. One, it keeps my distributions lower. And two, it kind of like, I wouldn't say forces me, but it makes me not give into that lifestyle creep of just like big amounts of money if I don't need it. I try and budget off the 2,800 as much as possible. It tends to work out that I can do my expenses and bills with that. And then whatever I pay myself from the business goes right into savings. I was trying to decide if I wanted to, once again, just do like a total expenses for the month or break it down. Just think off the top of my head what we have going on this month. It is Father's Day. I'll use my sinking fund to buy my dad a gift. Our grocery bill will probably be a little bit high since we'll bring things to like Matt's family for Father's Day lunch and my family for Father's Day dinner. We have a wedding party to go to in June. And I think that's it. I'm going to do 400 for groceries. Eating out, I'm not going to once again give that up for my low spend just because I feel like we don't do that like a big amount. We really just eat out once a week and we typically do fast food. I did want to try a new restaurant out this month though. So I'm going to say 150 because if we go out to eat, that's like easily $100. Coffee, I'm going to put 25. Miscellaneous shopping, where I really wanted to reel it in this month for my low spend and just be super conscious of my spending. So I'm actually gonna put $100. I think that's like a good buffer. Health and wellness, I don't need anything this month. Okay, appointments, I'm gonna put nothing because I'm actually getting my nails done tomorrow. It's like the last day of May, just because it kind of worked out with when I needed a fill. So I'm gonna say nothing. Car and gas, I'm gonna say 100. And then thrifting, I'm gonna say, let's put 50. That brings me to 825. I feel like what I want to do instead is almost just, Okay, let's just think on that for a second. We'll fill out the kind of like bill category. Mortgage is the same, 956. I'm gonna put 300 for small bills because I feel like water comes out. We do that like every 3 months. So I feel like it's a month for water. Car payment, 314, car insurance, 230, gym, 101, Netflix is $11, Kindle Unlimited is $11. Oh, this changed. I got the Netflix with ads, which I know some people are probably like, why would you do that? But like, I'd rather watch a few ads and save like 10 bucks a month. And then my Oura ring is $9.03 every month. As you can see here, I'll put the monthly summary on the board that in terms of like what I've budgeted with my corporate income. So now what I do is I will go down and plug in all of my savings, sinkings, and investment fund goals. Whatever the negative amount is in my budget, I will just pay myself that from the business. I also will have rollover too of about like $900. I have to remember that. I always do my minimums in my investments. So $250 in my TFSA, $250 in my RSP, $50 in the pet sinking fund. I don't think we need to put anything in the home one for now just because we have those big projects coming up. Celebration, I'll do 100 just because of birthdays and stuff. And then fun money, we'll just leave as is because I have $250 in there. I feel like that's a good amount if I want to kind of like treat myself to anything. Emergency fund, I would like to put $1,000 into it. I'd like to like aggressively save for that. And so as you guys will see here, it says like negative 1602. So then I will go ahead and pay myself probably about $2,000 from the business. And then that brings me to a positive $397, which is like a good amount. The budget for June, and we'll kind of see how it goes. I definitely need to kind of work on setting myself up for success for the low spend, low buy month. I feel like that's my biggest weakness is I always say like, oh, I'm gonna do a low spend month, but then I don't set myself up for success and like give myself, I wouldn't say rules, but guidelines to follow. Making sure to wait that few day period before I purchase something online, ask myself if I really need it. Thrifting is hard for me because sometimes I do feel like I buy stuff at the thrift store just because it's a good deal, even though I have nowhere to put it in the house. So I really want to be conscious of that. And like garage sale season is here, and just I was really good last weekend at the garage sales like in our town that I was like, this is cute, but like I don't have anywhere to put it. I'm not just gonna buy it because it's a good deal. So I just kind of want to go into June with that mentality. And like I said, the weather is just so nice out that I don't feel like I have to spend money. Like I could go to the beach or I could just like sit outside and read. And my monthly reset, you would also see too that June is a huge month for book releases. And so what I did was I was proactive, and about a month ago I put all of my holds in for the library. We do live in a small town, so I do get my library books pretty quick. I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 people waiting max on a new release book, which is very different than the city, don't get me wrong. And then I'm gonna read the books that are on Kindle Unlimited this month that I don't have to like pay for up front, that like I'm using my subscription for. I might have 1 or 2 that I had pre-ordered online for like auto-buy authors like Ashley Poston and Riley Sager. But my goal is like really not to buy any books this month. I just like obviously don't need them. I have so many to read. I have the library, I have my Kindle. I'm really just trying to set myself up for success with my low spend month. Going into it with the idea of getting creative with our meals, using stuff from the freezer, really trying to just cut down on the freezer. That's kind of like one of the main reasons I wanted to do low spend month for like grocery purposes, was just we have so much in the freezer that we can't fit anything else. So like now it's like, okay, let's take a pause from stocking it up. Let's use the stuff in it and just buy the essentials, fruits, veggies, like dairy, eggs, things to get us through breakfast and lunches, and use up that stuff in the freezer for dinners. I definitely think that cutting like HelloFresh and stuff out was pretty good for a budget. It's obviously very handy and great in a pinch. We did it the week we got back from vacation. I think I had a credit or something. However, it was just getting too expensive to maintain, and we have so many recipe cards from them that we're like able to recreate them all pretty much every week. So yeah, I think if you're gonna do like a low spend month and you want it to be successful, you really have to go in and like kind of not set rules, but like set expectations and a guideline for yourself. And I'm gonna spend a bit more time doing that, but I wanna just pick one category that you feel like you overspend in to do a low spend month in that category that also counts as a low spend month. Like I said, if you get coffee out every single day, which if that's your thing, go for it. But if you want to cut that down, maybe just focus on the coffee category that month, right? When you say like, I'm going to do a low or no spend in every single category, it can be really overwhelming if you've never done it before. I know it could work for some people, but for other people, it could just be really overwhelming and put you back into that spiral of binge spending. So maybe pick 1 or 2 categories that you want to work on this month. If you feel comfortable, let me know down below. We can all be in this together and hold each other accountable. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little budget with me video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.